Afternoon all. A bit of a double act for you, a double bill, chalk and cheese, I think. First up we have an MDS metal doorsteps, MDS 3.5cc, 0.2 cubic inch, made in Russia. Sorry about that, not very fashionable these days. Not much info about these engines in general, and in particular not much about this one. I guess it's Schnurler ported, double race, big Venturi there, possibly with the original glow plug, which is an idle bar plug, if you can see that. No matter. It was a bit of a barn find off the old Evil Bay. Didn't cost very much, and normally for these sorts of engines I would take them to bits and make sure they were clean, no crap inside. This one I couldn't. Yon cap edge were put on by Ludmilla up in Minsk with a 6-foot bar on her wrench. I think they're absolutely immovable. And I think the back plate was, I won't even show you that, it's disgraceful, was put in with a hydraulic press, I think. The observant amongst you will notice my patented needle valve. It came without one and that bit broke off. So a hat pin and an earplug stuck on there to give it some sort of seal. That pushed in. Actually works. It's pretty rich, but that's no bad thing because I think this engine has had very little use. The fits and bearings are very good, and it throttles on that fine, and in general I must be lucky because I've had 2 MDSs now and both of them have been very good, but it's agricultural. I think there was one run on YouTube years ago by Wonderful Cat, and he said it's a bit agricultural but it runs fine, and he put it up for sale. I don't think this is the engine, but you never know. You never know. Anyway, let's call that chalk. Saving the best till last, this is the cheese. It is an HB 25, 0.25 cubic inch, 4 cc's, H. Helmut B. Bernhardt. So this was made in Germany by Helmut Bernhardt, and these engines are quite rare now and very, very well made, I have to say. Helmut Bernhardt, according to Peter Chin, made optical instruments and decided to go into model engines, as you do. There is, believe it or not, a video on YouTube if you search for Helmut Bernhardt with a T on the end, and I think his son is fronting the video, and they're actually making orthopedic shoes. So where instruments led to shoes, I do not know, but this company, typical German family firm, employing a few people, started in the 1920s or 30s, I think. Helmut decided to make engines, I think in the 70s, early 70s, and he teamed it with K&B in the States, and the person who makes these carburetors, Perry, and for a while he was making bits for them, and they then made bits for him, and they had something to do with Vico engines. But after that, I think all this is Helmut's make. This predates Schnurler porting, so it's conventionally ported, cross-flow, scavenging. And there is a review on Septifly, said that this engine put out a surprising amount of power, 0.6 something of a brake horsepower, depending on whether you had this fellow on or not. That's an addition, an extension, so this clears the model that it was in. It's unusual in there's no back plate. There's also radially radial mounts. I think there was one under there that's got taken off. So the front comes off, the front housing comes off, and with it the crankshaft just pulls straight out, and the bearings, I think. The fits and finishes, as I said, are superb. This may not be handmade, but it'd be hand finished, I think. And if we're looking at the glow plug, they use K and B plugs, and I have a funny feeling that may well be original, unless it's a new Model Technics or something like that. I don't know. The inside, I haven't looked, but is the piston is ringed. It has a Dykes ring on the piston. So again, best not to take it out because there's swine to get back in. Pericarb, it says they're patented. You can't read it, but I can. Patented, that works very well. This engine came from a very good eBay seller whose father used it, I think from the 80s for flying, and it's been used. And he is now retired. And I got this engine on the bay, and I can tell father that it's in good hands. I will look after it very carefully. So I think that's all I can tell you about that one, but this really does run, and of course I will show them both. The last point about going back to our metal doorstop is it came with some instructions, and it says the maximum power here in kilowatts, 0.5. Now, when I went to school, there were 743 watts, or 0.743 to a horsepower. So that's something like 0.35, maybe, brake horse. So for Schnurler porting and 3.5 cc's, that's quite a modest output, but it probably means it'll go forever. If there's anybody watching who's got a needle valve like that and wants to flog me it, get in touch. Put a comment on the bottom. Thank you very much, and good evening.